Good evening. Today is Monday, October 19th. It is 5:35 p.m. I'd like to open the Board of Health meeting. First item is to review the agenda. Is there anything we need to add or remove?
Not necessarily add or remove, just a clarification for the abatement request for 32 Field Street. When we get to the hearing, there's just a clarification that that we can talk about for stop service and abatement request.
Okay.
So we might modify that.
Okay, that's fine. All right, do we have a bill scheduled today?
No, we don't.
All right.
And no minutes.
No minutes today. Okay. Then we'll go right into director's update.
Sure. So one thing I do want to just highlight in your packet, there is a board and committee training. This is the annual training that Attorney Hennigan and the town manager and assistant town manager, this is the annual training that they do for board and committee members. And that's going to be held this Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the Board of Selectmen's room. As you know, every year they have that, and it's basically a chance just to review the rules and conduct of a meeting, the ethics and so forth. Just things, advisement, basically legal advisement that we get from Attorney Hennigan. So that's going to be this Wednesday at 6 p.m. I just wanted to remind you. We sent it out previously, but since it's happening this week. Also in your packets, I wanted to kind of give you an update for the senior flu clinic that we had earlier this month. We had 78. We did 78 shots. It went very well, very smooth. That location seems to work out very well for us. The way that it's set up, Eileen and I are actually able to go in the night before. We're able to get everything set up. We actually have the trailer delivered, and it works out very well. So that clinic we've already had. We do have a couple of other clinics in the works I wanted to let you know about. The vaccine that we received from the state, the allotment that we have is strict guidelines as to the recipients that can get that vaccine. So the state has some systems in place this year for us to make sure that we are just reporting the people getting the vaccine. So they are gearing that towards children and those that are underinsured or uninsured. So we have already reached out to the school nurses, the lead nurses, Anna El Said and Margaret Collins. We've been working with them to try to figure out some dates for a clinic, and they've been very receptive with Dr. Brunel as well. So I don't have a specific date yet. We're still just trying to narrow those down, but I'll let you know that, excuse me, we're hoping to have that hopefully by the beginning of November. So we will have the clinics. We're hoping to bring both of our allotments of vaccine. We have state supplied vaccine and private pay vaccine. So we're hoping to bring both lots of vaccine to be able to do the children, and then if the parents want to get vaccinated as well, and if we have any of the staff and so forth. So we're working that out. We also have a employee clinic in the works as well. And first responders, our police and fire, obviously are the first to respond to people. They're out in the public, so if we're able to supply a vaccine for force protection, that's something that we want to offer. So stay tuned. I don't have any dates etched in stone yet, but I'll keep you informed on that. The yard waste schedule, I wanted to highlight again. I know I mentioned this at the last meeting, but since we are getting close to it, our yard waste pickup days are going to start on October 31st, which is Halloween. So we ask that residents put out their lawn clippings, leaves, twigs in the biodegradable bags, and then out at the curbside by 7 a.m. So we have 4 consecutive dates. October 31st is when it starts, then November 7th, 14th, and the 21st. So we'll be wrapped up by Thanksgiving. So just a reminder on that. One thing that I did want to highlight is Drug Take-Back Day from the Drug Enforcement Administration. Every year they have it's usually the last Saturday in September that they highlight to the public to clear out your medicine cabinets and get rid of all the prescription medications. We were able to speak with the Auburn Daily, and they highlighted just a reminder that we do have our prescription take-back unit housed at the police station in the lobby, and that was it was nice of them to add that to the news for that day. And so I think it actually works because it's actually full. So we'll be emptying that soon. But that was highlighted. Mass Department of Public Health had a conference call earlier, was that last week? I think it was.
Thursday.
For the new commissioner is highlighting some of the changes going on at the state level. And I think that one of the things that they are discussing is the food regulations and looking at a number of regs, which is going to be the next email that you have there. But they are looking to basically update the regulations for two of the biggest ones that I was party to the call was the food regulation and then the housing regulation. I think they spoke about some other updates.
Yeah, they, after them two are done, they will be moving on to camp and pool.
So the new commissioner has been, wants to keep in touch with local boards of health, asking for input. Your next email that I wanted to just bring to your attention is DEP had sent out a notification about proposed changes to their underground injection control regulations, and also the state on a whole right now under the governor's administration is looking to review all regulations and look at the effectiveness of what they are and see if there's a need for them. So that process is being done actively at the state. And because obviously the Board of Health has regulations that we enforce from both DEP and MDPH, I just wanted to bring to your attention that it seems to be very active and seems to be going on a lot of discussion about this item. So I just wanted to keep you in the loop on that. Also, we have a notification in here. I just thought it was a good time to highlight is Senator Moore voted on underage access to indoor tanning beds. I know this is one of the things that has kind of been talked about nationally. So just thought it was something to highlight the fact that we are looking at that and give us a chance to make sure that we're looking at that as well. We have a training for municipal and state government for the Department of Labor Standards on the disposal of syringes, and we have sent this out to our DPW, and it's actually just a good training that the state is offering. I thought I've never seen this particular training offered, so I thought it was kind of a nice thing to highlight. So that's going to happen. I think it's through a webinar. It's just a basically 1-hour webinar at the end of the month. Animal control, we have a notice of a dog hearing. I wanted to bring to your attention that we have a nuisance dog complaint that is going to be heard as a public hearing at the Board of Selectmen meeting. I believe it's next Monday, the 26th. So we have the Animal Control Office obviously falls under Board of Health. And it is something that the animal control had concerns, brought those concerns to me as well, about 2 dogs that have repeatedly gotten out, and caused many problems actually. So I just wanted to let you know that that's happening on 26th, which I believe is next Monday. And then I think the last 2 things, just a correspondence thing that went out. So I think I hit on the flu clinic, the solid waste update. Amy Sullivan has stepped down as a solid waste advisory committee member. She is still going to remain active for the recycling coordinator for the town, but that will leave 2 vacancies on the solid waste advisory committee board. So I just wanted to bring to your attention, the committee will be looking for some new members. The yard waste states, I think I already put those in there for you. We did the animal control, and then Worcester Regional Tobacco Coalition update. I wanted to let you know that there were some recent compliance checks, and we'll bring you the results of those at the next meeting.
All right, at this time it is 5:46, so I'd like to open the hearing for the trash abatement request at 32 Field Street. And
Yes, please.
good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Ronald Whitmore. I live at 3 Edward Street in Leicester.
Okay. And so this is for 32 Field Street here in town,
Yes,
and it's Mary Rosling's
Correct.
home, and
My mother.
that's your mom. Okay. All right. So at this point, this is the evidentiary part of the hearing. So if you could just give us your take on anything, and then we'll go with them. Actually, I think, Dolly, you start first,
Oh, okay, thank you.
and then you go, and then we'll discuss.
Right.
Okay.
yep.
Thank you, Ray. So, Mr. Whitmore contacted me a couple weeks ago, and he reached out for a request for an alternative solid waste disposal for his mom, Ms. Rosling. He has a request form in there, I think identifying some of the particulars about his mom and her having some difficulty due to her age, and being able to navigate the toters and taking care of the trash. So I spoke with Mr. Whitmore. I encouraged him to provide as much information as possible to the board to have you review it. The alternative solid waste disposal, he did report that he does have a licensed hauler for his own property in Leicester, that is Allied Waste, as he reported to me, and he has a weekly pickup. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
So we do have this form. We do have his handwritten request as well to accompany the solid waste disposal form request. And one thing that I just wanted to clarify that has been clarified to me is this disposal form request is, this particular form is for an alternative solid waste removal company. If somebody wants to get an abatement in addition to this, it's actually a separate form.
Okay.
So one thing that I had mentioned before, I actually listed it as a trash abatement request, and just clarification, this form is just to do a stop service on the municipal pickup
Okay.
and do an alternative hauler. Mr. Whitmore did also inquire just earlier before the meeting about an abatement request as well. So, you know, if that's something that he wants to do as well, that would be something that he can certainly identify if he would like. But we actually have two separate forms, so, you know,
Yeah.
I apologize if we didn't include both forms. It was my understanding that this form did both, but there's actually two separate
There's two
forms.
separate
Yep. So that is, that's what we have to present for
Okay.
32 Field Street.
All right, Mr. Whitmore?
Yeah, pretty much as I indicated on the attachment, my mom's 97 years old. She lives alone. She has to navigate to the cellar to dispose of her recyclables and rubbish. Very long driveway. She fell twice last year without any serious injury. So what we're trying to do is just prevent something from happening. Her health, she's having trouble with eyesight, navigating and so on. So we as a family, or myself, just want to remove a little bit she has each week and take it to my dwelling and dispose of it.
All right, any more evidence to be given?
I don't believe so, sir.
Okay, I have a motion to close the evidentiary part.
Motion to close.
A second, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Discussion. Go.
We've had similar requests to this.
Actually,
before.
we've had, most of the requests we've had have been abatement because they're getting, this one is to look for, everybody in town has to have a trash hauler.
Mhm.
So he's looking for an alternative program, not to go through the town. So if they want to switch from what we have in the town to Laterno's or something like that, they'd have to come in front of us. So we have to make sure each abode has trash removal. So that's what this is. So today we're not dealing with money, we're just dealing with this. Now yours, do you have toters or do you have a dumpster at your location?
We have individual buckets for the
Buckets,
rubbish.
okay.
But if we chose to get an alternate hauler for her location,
Yeah.
we'd still have the same situation. She'd have to have the driveway plowed. she'd
Oh
have
no,
to,
I understand, but you are the alternate hauler.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Is
I
that's-
kind of altered the form and put my name.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
address.
I mean, you're not bringing another, that's where it gets, I know we had this in the past when Andy was here. Somebody wanted to do it and drive it to their business. They owned a business out of town and they wanted to come to their mom's house. And we had issue with that because if the person sold their business, if they didn't pick up the trash, where was the trash gonna be located? So that came up then.
Was that one of the items we brought before the solid waste committee to discuss?
I don't know. I don't remember if that was one of them. We were talking about stuff like that, but I don't know if that went in front of the board.
So I have, within the past couple of months, I have informed the Solid Waste Advisory Committee about the requests that we've been receiving. And there is, I have brought it to their attention that there's, the need to kind of maybe look at what some of these requests are coming, because this is typically an alternative solid waste disposal form is going to be somebody that doesn't want to be on the town municipal service with Republic Services, and they want the flexibility to go with another person that is on the approved trash hauler form. So I did explain that to Mr. Whitmore and did show him that we have a list. So if he wanted to choose another list for his mom, a lot of the obviously there's many different choices out there. Somebody doesn't have to stay with the town municipal service, but in order to have a proper procedure for having an alternative hauler, there is flexibility to do that. So if he wanted to have an ABC hauler or XYZ hauler, if he's choosing one off of the form, and say they offer maybe like a dumpster service so that his mom doesn't have to navigate toters down a long driveway or on a slippery driveway. Say they deliver a small, like a 2-yard dumpster where when her son or family members come over, they just take the trash out and put it in the dumpster. It gets emptied as needed. That's something that you normally as a board wouldn't see, because that would be clear cut.
Right.
We would have an alternative solid waste disposal request. We would have identified on the request that they're going with an approved hauler on the list, and then we would, the board has given authority in the past for us to be able to approve that. Because this is not going through that same channel, Mr. Whitmore has a hauler that he uses at his dwelling in Leicester. It is a hauler that we're familiar with, obviously, Allied Republic, but he has that connection. It's not, he would be bringing the trash. It wouldn't be Allied Waste providing service to this property. So because that is, it's a change there, that's something that, you know, I wanted to bring to the board's attention. You know, each place of residence is required to have trash disposed of at an approved facility. Now, the methodology of how that happens is part of what we're looking at. I can tell you, just in the past several months, I think these forms were typically, hey, how are you? These forms were, you know, typically handled, I think, through the normal process in the assessor's office. Because this is an alternative hauler, and because we're looking at improving the efficiency in our office and making sure that trash hauler list is up to date, we want to make sure there's a check and balance. So I have explained that to Mr. Whitmore. You know, there are other choices that haulers can provide that might make it easier for his mom. He has expressed interest in not wanting to go that route, so you know, it's before you as the alternative hauler and the procedure for that. And I think what I did hear him, you know, express also is, in addition to that, I think I did hear you say you'd also like an abatement as well.
I think she paid to the end of the year, yeah. And
Yeah,
I
so
would-
if the board were to consider canceling this and allowing him to go with the request that he's proposing, I think he'd also like an abatement as well.
Okay. But that's not in front of us tonight, right?
It's
Because-
not, but obviously I wanted to bring to your
Yeah.
attention.
Okay.
This form actually
Yeah.
would be,
Told them to pay for December 31st.
she's paid through December 31st.
Yep.
Yeah, the trash is paid in 6 months blocks
Yep.
of
Well,
time.
it was within the last 6 months or a year, I thought we had a similar case like this, or older parent, younger family member, taking the trash from the residence to, was it a business or another residence or something like that?
I think it was a business, and the business was in town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have, on that form, there is a spot to take it at the place of business. You know, that would be something that you'd be
Yeah.
identifying, and then there's another form for the business.
Yeah.
So those are the forms
Yep.
that,
Yeah, it's like when I had my restaurant in town, I had a dumpster, so I didn't get trash service, and my dad worked for me at the restaurant, so we both threw our trash out in one dumpster, so we didn't have to. As soon as we sold it, we had to get our own trash.
You know, we're talking a very minimal amount. I mean,
Yes.
a bag
No,
of-
we
a bag of
understand.
wheat,
It's the issue with it is your mom is a very minimal amount, maybe a small bag a week. But once we vote on this, whatever we do is going to set a precedent. Now somebody else can come in, and that person could have 6 bags a week, and they're going to want to drag it out of town. The other thing too is, not that I'm going to call you a trash company, but they don't like when they set up your rate, it's for you at your house, it's not for you to bring other people's trash to your.
It's through a condominium association
Yes.
that we live in.
And I know, and it's just, it's one of
those.
those things, I don't want you to get caught putting somebody else's trash in your thing, and then they say, hey, what are you doing this? I can, you know what I mean? It's just, working in different businesses myself, it's one of those things where they look and say,
Yeah.
hey, we're charging you, you're taking away another stop from us if we want it, you know what I mean? So, it's a business thing, and not that we're gonna go and say that, but we have to be careful of what we vote on and how
Okay.
we handle it.
And speaking of the precedents, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Is a similar situation to you and your mom has come before the board before.
Yeah, and I just don't have, I don't remember what we voted on that, because I know we've never allowed it to go out of town.
Right.
I know when they had the business in town, we allowed the business in town, but I think there was a business out of town, I don't remember us allowing that one. I'm just trying to figure out.
And we've already brought a few concerns up to the
Yeah.
solid waste committee to try to help clarify the intention of.
No, I understand that, and I know when I got the regulations down, do you have a copy of the regulations here or no for solid waste?
I do not.
Okay.
Ray, would
They-
you
I
like me to
just-
go print them?
Yeah, we can get
I
that.
can put-
Well, if it's not that big,
Yeah, not a problem.
or that we can get it right.
Yeah.
I just know that in the regulation it says every household must have a licensed hauler.
Right, and I think the
Removing.
problem we had before with family member taking it out
Mm-hmm.
was that family member then becomes the hauler.
Yes, and they're
Correct.
not considered a licensed hauler. So that, I mean, when it's in town and it's a business in town, they have a licensed hauler, they're just transporting it. That's transporting their own trash normally.
Right,
That's where we run into,
yeah.
it's those nuances in the rules and regs.
And I can honestly say you know, in recent, in the past year or so, you know, there have been requests that come up to us, and normally the ones that are cut and dry, you know, if Mr. Whitmore was proposing a hauler from that list, you
Yeah,
normally
we
wouldn't
haven't even
see
seen
that,
it, yeah.
you know what I mean? That would be something that would be taken care of, because he's proposing to be the hauler, and bring it to his residence, you know, it's that in between. So, I have identified to the solid waste, that these are situations that.
Few and far between, but still.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it certainly, to be able to come up with, you know, maybe some guidance on what's allowable and what's
Yeah.
not even allowable to request, you know, I mean, you can request anything, but to be able to consider
Yeah.
these type of requests can only be if you have, you know, these three documents, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, playing devil's advocate, I look at it this way too. If it's allowable, now we have licensed haulers in town and they have to pay to be a licensed hauler, right? They have to pay, they get a sticker on their truck, so they have to get a.
Correct.
So if we start having people taking trash out of town, they're gonna say, well, if that person's taking trash out of town, how come we don't sticker them and make them get a permit? Just throwing it out there as, you know, looking at it in that respect. Then looking at the other way, it's a bag of trash. I don't know, I'm in the same boat with my mom, but, you know, but I have a dumpster, I pay for a dumpster at her house, and I get it picked up. Well, it's good because I only pay when it's picked up, and sometimes it's every 3 months.
Sure.
So it works for me on that which isn't, it's a 2-yarder on wheels.
And that's one of the things that I had explained to
Yeah.
Mr. Whitmore, you know, if he wanted to explore other options with other haulers, certainly, you know, to make something a little bit easier for his mom, that would be something that, you know, we would strongly encourage as well.
Yeah, the wording I want is in here.
Which is, you know, some
It
some of
says,
the advisement.
well, the
right.
advisement is every resident in town must have.
Right. I think it was discussed, I just don't know if it's in this document.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see it in
I
here.
didn't see it in there as well.
And that's one thing, is when they get a new committee together, they need
Sure.
to, they need to
Yep, absolutely.
clarify.
But I mean, that,
Because we don't
Those-
write the regs, but we're the ones that are supposed to uphold them. So
Yeah.
sometimes we have to look back at this and question the solid waste committee. They make the rules and then we have
And
to,
if you set a precedence, like you said.
Yeah,
if-
yeah,
If I
and-
go
and-
away with one bag and the neighbor goes away with 6 bags.
yeah, and it's one of those things where I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat with my mom and I get that. I just, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to, if it was cut and dry in this, it'd be nice and easy for me to say, yes, this is what we can do, no, but I don't see the wording that I'm looking for in that. It's tough when somebody else makes the rules and you have to uphold them, you know?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Because I have to read into what they were thinking when they wrote them and go from there.
If you can't approve something like this, then I know what I'm going to do.
And that,
We'll continue
yes,
to pay for the service.
Yeah.
The buckets won't be out there
no,
because they won't be filled.
no.
She has the smallest toter,
What?
she has a small bin.
She has 2.
Yeah, they have the,
They're as tall as she is.
there's two different sizes, Mr. Whitmore. So there's a smaller
Yeah,
version.
and there's a bigger
there's
one.
a larger
And
version.
she's about the same height as the one.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
so I
that's-
mean, you,
And we'd have to plow the driveway. She doesn't drive either. So,
Yeah, I
I mean,
understand.
if it comes down to that,
Yeah,
we'll continue to pay her annual fee or semi-annual fee. The buckets will stay in the yard. They're not going out
Yeah.
the road. And I'm taking it away. So,
because
if that's the way
we
it has
got,
to be.
we have 2.5 months in the year. She's paid till December.
Yeah.
What I would do from now till then, I mean, this is just my opinion. Look into some of these other haulers that have the 2-yarders, because they can put them next to the driveway, and they only charge you when they pick them up. So if it's there for 6 months without being picked up, and your mom's trash isn't real smelly, you're paying whatever the pickup fee. It could be $45. It could be whatever. It's whatever you make a deal with them for.
I think she'd have an issue with that.
Okay.
Being,
Yeah.
she's
All right. I
wants to keep
understand.
things looking nice.
Oh, and I understand that. I mean, there are other haulers who will, if you get a personal hauler, who will walk up the driveway and get the buckets. This one doesn't because they're a town trash hauler and they have to pick everything up the street. But if you
Right.
get your own private one and explain to them the situation, they may walk up the driveway and send the guy up the driveway
Yeah,
too.
if-
So.
Right, if we continue to plow the driveway,
Yeah,
that's
well,
other issue.
yeah, and that's, and I understand that.
that's-
I'm trying to give you some options.
I understand.
Because, like, but what I read here, I don't think there's much we can do about
Okay,
it,
all right.
okay?
I thought I'd bring it to
No,
the
and,
board,
no,
then
and that's, you're right, and if you,
now I know how to go forward from here.
yeah, and I understand that, so, any more discussion?
No motion to close discussion.
Second the motion, how do you vote?
I'll make a motion to sadly deny the request.
Well, no, we have to vote on the closing of the,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Aye.
All right, so now do we have a motion on the, request?
Motion to deny the request for alternative waste hauler.
As Mr.,
as Whitmore
Mr. Whitmore.
provided.
okay? I have to second the motion.
All right,
How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
we're all done.
All right, sorry.
Admirable, but
Yeah.
I understand. You all have a good night.
You too, sir. I have a motion to
close the hearing.
close the hearing.
Thank you.
Second motion, how do you
Aye.
vote? Aye. Okay, so that hearing is closed. It is now 6:08, and I would like to open, where's my paperwork?
Before we open.
Oh, yep, do you have another?
sorry?
Will you send a written letter in regards to the decision of the board to Mr. Whitmore?
Yes.
Okay. all
Yes,
right.
I will. I also wanted to, the reason I brought up the fact that there's 2 separate forms is because, you know, the request for alternative disposal has come up, you know, recently, and just clarification that it's, if you're changing a hauler
Mhm.
versus an abatement request, 2 separate
Right,
requests.
right.
So,
right.
you know, we can certainly deny that based on like, solid waste regulation. The abatement request would be something separate.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you able to verify that she is receiving the smaller of the 2 toters?
I can check on
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
it makes no sense that they would be paying for the
Sure.
large toter if
Yeah.
it's a single person.
I mean, there's just no way around it. I mean, it has
Is it,
to.
can you tell me what you
Unless
found
solid
in here
waste
that-
committee was to,
Is there something in here that says it can't be brought out of town?
No, that's what I was looking for, but it doesn't say you can or can't. We license every trash hauler in town. If people start taking the trash out of town, they're not getting a sticker for their vehicle, so they're
technically a trash hauler.
They're technically a
and
trash hauler.
We can't approve a request for a non-licensed hauler.
Yeah. And it should say in there, and how it's always been brought up, is that every resident in town must have a licensed trash hauler.
And I think in speaking with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, that is a discussion that they have had in the past. And it is the understanding, obviously, these were made, 5 years ago,
Right.
and they need to be updated.
Yes.
But to have a procedure in place, if somebody wants to, in this situation, I certainly can respect his request.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But, what we had explained before he actually got to the meeting, in my discussions with him, a couple weeks ago, was to try to look at alternative haulers to see
Yep.
just what you were saying,
Right.
to see if they can put like a small little dumpster or a toter or something that doesn't sound like she's going to generate a lot of trash. But we would have that situation in place where you can verify that it's somebody who's hauling, who's licensed to work in town, to bring the trash, to remove it, as, with her needs in mind. And so, it sounds like you have a similar situation where you have like a small...
Yeah,
a
2-yard
small-
dumpster.
Right, a small 2-yard dumpster where they're able to do that.
Yep.
So because this is not a cut and dry situation,
No.
it's something that,
And I know we've denied in the past for people to take it out. We allow it to go to businesses, but not to another private home.
Right, we allow it to go to businesses out of town too, though, if you look at that. It's to your own cell phone business or your place of business.
Yes, but
but they have to,
But,
sign
we
for
had
it.
one person
They have to sign
who
for it,
their
but they become trash
friend,
haulers is what I'm
well,
saying.
what it was is
Contradicts what the...
their friend wanted to, they said, oh, I'm gonna take it to my friend's business. It wasn't a place they worked and it wasn't their business. They're not allowed to do that.
But I think I want to go back to the point you made where if you let someone take the trash, regardless of where they take it, they now become a trash hauler. Well, in them two instances, they now become a trash hauler, so...
But it's their private, so you can put whatever you want in your car and bring it wherever you want. But if you're taking it from somebody else's, you're a hauler because you're taking it from somebody else. Same thing with pesticides. Excuse me. And pesticides, you can put your own pesticides on your lawn, but I can't put it on my neighbor's lawn because I'm not a licensed pesticide applicator. I used to be, and I could do it on other lawns, but now you can't. So it's the same thing with trash. You can bring your trash wherever you want, but I can't have you come to my house and take your trash someplace else. And that's where it becomes an issue. That's where you become a licensed trash hauler because you're taking somebody else's, it's not your own property. And that's where that comes out. We ran into that with Andy in the past too, is, if you're not a licensed trash hauler, you can't take the trash from somebody else's property. Now, if it's your property, that's different. If you live there and you're taking it, if you work in Milford and you want to take your trash to Milford because you own a business there, you're already paying a licensed trash hauler to take that trash away. So that's the way we've always done it with the solid waste committee. And right now, until they fix things, I'm not making a precedent because all the trash will start going out of town, and then the hauler's going to come after us and say, why are you allowing all these people to do this?
There's definitely a lot of discussion to
Yep.
be had, I think, going forward, because, certainly the Solid Waste Advisory has spent a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And going forward, there's always requests that come to us, and we want to, if we have something that we can give as guidance
Yeah.
for somebody like this, before he even gets to this point, we can say, okay, in this situation, this is what we would recommend and have, 2 or 3 different options for him. And then it makes it a little bit easier, because if you know what your choices are, it's sometimes easier to make an informed decision.
And the other thing too is with his own personal trash hauler that he has things with. I know when I signed the contract for my mom's dumpster, I can't put anything in the dumpster even though I pay for it because all the trash has to come out of that residence. He could open himself up to problems if he starts bringing other people's trash into his buckets.
Right.
And that's why I told him, I said, I'm not going to tell anybody, but if something comes up, he could get in trouble. They could say, okay, we're not picking up your trash, we're going to fine you.
Now,
So-
most of the contracts for the individual buckets, not dumpsters,
Yeah.
are per bag. You're allowed 3 bags, period.
Yeah.
If you go above that, they charge you extra.
Yeah.
The clauses are mostly being taken out,
Yeah.
wherever it comes from. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
how what you're allowed.
Yep.
Capacity.
Yeah.
Are a report of these hearings that we have here forwarded to Solid Waste Committee?
Not at this time, but good idea.
Yeah, anything we do with solid waste, we
I
probably.
think even if it's just a quick email to the chair of the committee or something,
Sure.
you know, just an
Yep.
FYI, this is what we're hearing,
Yeah.
get some feedback from.
Because they may
Yeah,
not know I think almost every meeting we're running into
Something, yeah.
solid
Well,
waste.
right,
Yeah.
that's why
And I
solid
don't-
waste is becoming, definitely taking a lot of time and a lot
Yeah.
of, review
Yeah.
by us, because obviously we want to make sure we're getting it right.
Mhm.
And so there's questions to be asked and procedures to kind of look at to make sure, is there a way that we can make it easier? So those discussions, like I said, they have, solid waste is aware that we
Yeah.
are having, requests come to us, but having something where, we give the specifics.
Can we just give a quick
Yeah.
memo, a quick report,
Yeah.
quarterly, semi-annual, whatever's easy, convenient for you, not to overburden anybody, but just to keep them in the loop.
And another thing might help us too is once they get everything taken care of, I think if we have a bunch of hearings on abatements or anything like that, I'd like to see someone from the trash. If someone from solid waste could come in as an advisor,
Sure.
and we could, say, hey, we have 12 hearings on abatements for this. Can you come in and that way you guys can, what? Because the problem is now most of the people they weren't here when this was written.
Yep.
And the person who wrote it, like you said, Amy just stepped down. She was one of the proponents on that. She was the big one when that came out. And then, and says, so I don't know, they said 2010 to 2015. Does that mean they're redoing it for 2016?
Yeah, so this is something that they know they're going to be
Okay.
reviewing.
All right, good.
So obviously with,
Because I remember they came in here, I think it was in 2010, 2009, they were here in front of the board and
Oh, nice.
we discussed different things, but they were writing it at that time and they asked us, is there anything you want in it? And we were like, that's when we just took over, we took over trash in 2010 and we were like, we had no clue. We didn't know what we wanted in it because we didn't know anything about it. Now we're starting to get a feel for everything and seeing where that's going, so.
Thank you.
All right, so the next one we have is, we have a hearing for a request for 45 Bond Street. They're looking for a sieve analysis as an alternative to a perk test.
yes.
Okay, it is 6:17 and I'd like to open the hearing. So, go ahead.
Okay. So we have, I think in your packets, I gave you a copy of the application for the LUA. It is more of a formality to have this LUA. The alternative to PERC is something that is allowed by Title V. And this property, we do have a septic plan that has been submitted. It is under review. This particular property had high groundwater, and the normal PERC test could not be run. So there was a request by the engineer, and soil sample was taken, and we did get the results back for that. So this is basically just to come before you to let you know that we do have the LUA. And again, the soil testing was done out at the property back in June. So the plan review is before us, it's under review, it's an alternative plan. So that process will go through.
They have to do a mounted system.
They're actually doing a fast geoflow system. So
Okay.
it's one of the more kind of complicated pressure dose systems.
Geoflow drip. Okay.
Yeah, yep. So.
Jimmy's doing the work?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Malley. As part of, and just to give you just a note. They are going to be drilling a new well as part of the plan. And we're going to have the existing well abandoned, but it's a pretty elaborate well house. So you want to go through that process, but again, it's more of a formality,
Yeah.
but it is allowable under Title V, and it's part of their review. We just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah, Jim's the king. He's the septic guy for 5 towns, and he does work in other towns. And if he thinks this is the best way to do it, and it is allowable under Title V, if that's the way to do it, I don't see any reason to not give the variance. I respect Jim. I think he does a good job. I've seen his work.
Why does the state ask the local board to review these
Because
requests?
the state doesn't want to do anything with Title V. They dropped Title V in our laps, what, 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
it's, there's a list
it's
of
allowable.
LUAs that
Yeah.
are done at the local level to allow the boards that, you live here in town, anything that is going to be an alternative to the state regulation, they want the local boards to be able to weigh in on that. Again, this is one of those ones that it's, like I said, it's more of a formality. Mr. Malley is very knowledgeable, has, tremendous septic experience,
And the traditional pit would not really be feasible.
well, we couldn't, how you normally would do the perk, we weren't able to do. It was too wet.
Closed discussion and evidence.
Second the motion.
Motion to accept and approve the requested variance.
Second the motion. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a motion to close.
Motion to close?
Second the motion to close the hearing. Aye. All right, so 2 hearings are done. We can move into inspections.
I can take over the notes.
We are in fall temporary event mode, so we've had several temporary events over the past month, and we have several coming up. We just had the fall festival. Darlene went to the fall festival. I was not able to make it, and it was on Columbus Day weekend. I'm not sure how big the crowd was. They decided to do homecoming on Columbus Day weekend, so we do our fall festival with that. We have a holiday festival coming up. That's our biggest temporary event. And then we have many small ones. Keeping Auburn Warm is doing a fundraiser. The fire department's doing something. And then we have a lot of holiday festivities that the town runs in various places. No nuisance complaints, and then just inspections. No new establishments. Wendy's has been reopened after their renovation. They opened up maybe about a week and a half ago. Does that sound right? They did a nice job. It looks nice in there. And you see that McDonald's was painted and the renovations that they said they were going to do. We are experiencing an uptick in calls for potential new establishments, so I'm thinking that next spring is going to be busy with some new establishments, which is great. It shows the economy's doing good, and it shows that there's a lot of people interested in Auburn and the locations that we provide. So now we're doing some pool and camp reporting, and then just finishing up our regular inspections. So from now to the end of the year, our schools are all done. I'll be doing the nursing homes again for another round, and then just all the regular little mom and pops is what I have for November to do.
I know they don't do food there, but it looks like the gas station for BJ's is going in.
Yes.
No food there.
No, I know. I figured they didn't have a booth there. It just gets
Yeah.
gas only. Yeah, right by the car dealership across the street from BJ's.
Next to Prime Ford.
That's what they built.
Yeah, it's gonna be a BJ's gas station
Okay.
there. What else was there? I saw. I can't remember. I can't remember. I was losing things. business left and right. So I'm getting old. So,
Oh, not even there, Ray, not even there.
it's just four towns is killing me. Well, I remember things. It's like, oh no, that was that town. No, that was that town. No, that was that town. Now I'm here, so it's like trying to get back into Auburn mode. All right. Any communicable disease paperwork?
You know what? I apologize. I'm not sure that we have that. I don't think we got that report. I'll have to
Okay.
check on that.
That's fine.
If I may.
Yeah.
Two things I just wanted to mention. So at the Fall Festival, we did have, Eileen was away that weekend, so we did do some inspections. We had temporary food, and I wanted to just highlight the fact that we do have our public health nursing intern, Carolyn Griffin, and she graciously offered to have an educational booth for us on behalf of the Board of Health, and it was fabulous. I think her and her husband worked together on a poster board to highlight, it was so adorable. It had the arbovirus, because there's been so many cases of West Nile this year, and also the tick-borne diseases that have been highlighted a lot this year. So she did kind of a really nice Halloweenish theme
Did get a lot of attention.
to some of the kind of a fun way to educate people on some of these diseases that are very serious and that are in the news quite a lot lately. So just wanted to publicly thank Carolyn. Her and her husband spent time from themselves to represent our Board of Health.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So she's been working with Eileen and myself, and she's working on an internship for
My master's in public health nursing.
thank you.
Yes.
And so going forward, she is also going to be looking at some possible education around head injuries, and the schools and the school nurses have expressed some interest in doing maybe an outreach educational program. Last year they did, I think it was Lyme disease.
Okay.
And it was really nice. It was well attended. So we thought that since Carolyn has a passion for it, she has some resources, it might be a nice synergy to put with the school nurses wanting to do some education, and the Board of Health having some expertise in that area, and Carolyn's connections with UMass. It's kind of a really nice thing that we're able to possibly offer. So there'd be some discussions on that going forward. So we really appreciate the time that she has spent.
I'm sure we could even pull our public safety friends in
Yep.
on a program like that.
Absolutely. Yep. And then also, I did one more thing that we did have. It's not an establishment that we have licensed yet, but they are in the review process. Is a tattoo body art establishment. So that is going to be located down at the corner of the intersection of 12 and 20.
The same building that they wanted to have one before?
I believe so,
We
years and
opened-
years ago.
Well,
Yes.
how long have you been here now? 4?
It was actually the first time I worked here.
Yeah, well, we had another one, Matt opened.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in that
Oh,
same
there was one in
spot,
between?
and it was there for about, I don't know, 6 months, and then it was gone.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Matt actually opened one when he was here as a part-timer, so I knew they were closed before you came on as our
Okay.
inspector. But yeah, I remember Matt opened one for Andy, and we went up and down on the codes with that one.
Right.
We made them put a sink in every location, and they had one sink for like 3, and we wanted one in every booth. So,
Sure.
but yeah, those are fun, and they don't last long in town. They're here for a couple of years, and then they're gone.
Well, the one thing that I can say is, we have, like I said, we've done some pre-operational
Mhm.
inspections out there, and we've had the public health nurse, Cheryl,
Yep.
come out,
Mhm.
and so we've done some preliminary site visits, and, you know, the owner is attempting to follow the regulations that we
Okay.
have in place, so we'll be working with them to, you know, to try to get through the requirements. We've been out there twice, I think, now, so we'll be moving forward on, you know, making sure that, you know, they come into compliance with what the regs are. So you can stay tuned, we probably have an update by the next meeting for that establishment.
I think if a tattoo parlor wants to make it in town, they need to put it in the Sheldon's parking lot. I mean, that's the same location, both tattoo parlors, and then there was the other one up the street on Route 12, right next to the breakfast place. There was a small one there for a little bit too.
Oh, okay.
Now it's a dog.
Oh, yeah, the
it's
grooming
it's a
place,
dog grooming
yep.
place, but it used to be a tattoo parlor. Renegade Tattoo was there.
Okay.
They were here for about a year and a half, and then they were gone. Yeah, if that long. That's where Andy's daughter got her tattoo.
So,
With
But,
his, with his license and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how it works.
Ray, when you're saying the same place, do you just mean that same strip mall, or?
I believe it was, there was a reptile place and the tattoo place was right next door to reptile, and we had two tattoo parlors in the same spot. So I don't know if that one's in the exact same spot, but Pub 99 is here. There's the Treasure place, I want to call, you know.
It's the next
It's the next building over where there
Yeah.
was a reptile place and there was something else and
Solar store or something?
Yeah,
like that?
but
Yeah, so right
that's
now
twice
there's,
we've had two
I
different
think
tattoo towels.
there's 3 businesses
Yep.
there. So there's, I think, a nail,
nail
some
salon.
sort of nail salon. There is,
Another-
ironically, a
Reptile place.
reptile place. So a pet store in the middle section, and then this would be on the very end, which
That's where the last
which
two tattoo parlors were both there.
and we also the
the
business
infrastructure's
last
there,
that we
so.
licensed there was actually an e-cigarette
Okay.
location,
Mhm.
e-vapes.
Yep. So.
Oh,
All right.
lots of vapes, lots of vapes.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lots of vapes
Yeah,
moved
yeah.
to the other plaza.
Okay.
So we'll give you an update as
Sure.
to where we are for the tattoo
Mhm.
establishment going forward.
All right. Oh, if anybody's attending this one on the 21st, if there's any paperwork, if they pass anything out, could someone grab me a set? I'll be at the Cape.
Absolutely.
So I will miss on that one. Every year they send it out.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
o'clock.
every year they send it out. It's the same MHOA. I'm always at the MHOA, so I miss that. It's been a few years they've been doing that, so.
So we have for the meetings for November, believe it or not, November is coming quick. So if we go with our regular schedule for the 2nd and 4th, that leads us to the 9th and the 23rd.
Yeah.
The 9th is actually the holiday week.
Yeah.
The holiday falls in the middle of the week
Wednesday,
on
yeah.
Wednesday. And then we have the 23rd, which is Monday right before Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
I don't believe I would be available for the 9th, but Eileen
Yeah.
can certainly run the meeting.
Yeah, 'cause I won't be available on the 16th. I have a flu clinic in Westboro, so
Okay.
I won't be
Yeah,
available
no.
that day. So the 9th looks good for me. 23rd, even though it's the holiday week, I'm not. I mean,
Before.
yeah, it's the Monday and Thursday is
Right.
Thanksgiving, so I'm not affected by that. That gotta work anyways. You guys are here till 7 o'clock anyways. It's not like you're coming in on a day
Correct.
off, so.
Yep.
Can I ask you this, Ray, are we gonna do one meeting in November? Or 2?
It all depends on the paperwork, what we have coming. If there's not enough to hold a meeting on the 9th,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Because
Well, usually we
the
set 2.
23rd fits better with the 19th. If you're
Yeah.
gonna only have one, you wouldn't wanna do
Yeah.
9,
No, I mean-
9 and then just, you know what I mean?
No, I understand. I mean, we used to, up until this summer, we were every 2 weeks, and but we haven't had a lot going on. So if we don't, I like to table one of the meetings. And
Okay.
if we have a lot on the 9th, and then there's nothing for the 23rd, we table the 23rd.
Okay.
So whatever you have coming in, if you don't think there's enough for us to meet on the 9th, then send out an email beginning of that week or whatever and say, hey, look, doesn't look like we need a meeting on the 9th. Let's hold the
Sure.
23rd.
Oh.
And I'm fine with that.
hopefully send an email by Friday,
Oh, well, no, yeah.
because if we're not gonna meet on the 9th, I may be out of state on the 9th,
Oh, okay. So by which Friday?
the 6th.
6.
Oh, yeah. Well, I meant beginning of the week, I meant.
The week before.
Yeah, because you have to send it on Thursday and post it, so you'd know by Wednesday anyways. So, all right.
Someplace good, going someplace good.
Good for you.
All right. Thank you very much.
So that works.
So we'll plan on the 9th. If we don't have the need, then we'll go to the
Then
23rd.
push it off to the
Okay.
23rd.
Sure.
Fine with that. All right. Any other things we need to discuss?
I don't
The
think
motion
so.
to close.
Second the motion. Have a good night.